Good evening. My name is John Winstead. I'm the Director of Fire and Health Services at Nash Community College, and I want to start out by just thanking you for being here tonight. I'd like to ask everybody to turn your cell phones or any kind of noise-making device you have off so that we can give these gentlemen the respect they deserve during this ceremony. They've put in a lot of hard work, a lot of long days. On their behalf, I'd like to thank you all for supporting them through this and being here for them tonight. At this time, I'd like to call the graduating class 092412. Please stand.
Ready, step. Ready, step. Ready, step.
At this time, I'd like to ask you all to remain standing as the Nash County Honor Guard presents our colors. I'd like to ask you to remain standing as Dr. Keith Smith comes forward and gives our invocation.
Good evening. Let us pray. As we continue to celebrate 45 years of teaching and learning at Nash Community College, I ask that the power that made it so be invoked upon the ceremony for the recruit firefighter graduation class 092412. We are excited that we can come together to recognize these recruits who have completed their training and should be rightfully acknowledged by Nash Community College's instructors, staff, administrators, families, and friends. I only ask that the spirit that guided them to this place and time continue to dwell with them and all who are present to witness such a wonderful event. This is my petition. I submit it to the one who sustains us all. Amen. You may be seated.
Good evening. I'm Bill Carver, President of Nash Community College. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, the faculty, and staff, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to welcome you to this Fire Academy graduation. Some of you may have heard me say this before, but I have to say it, particularly at this event, community college graduates often run towards a disaster when others are running away. In the national anthem, they said something about the home of the brave. And these young men right here are going to have to be brave from time to time as they're asked to call upon themselves and to go into sometimes situations that you and I might not particularly find that pleasing. Thank you, young men, for your service that you're about to give to our community. And I tell people there's no greater thing that Nash Community College, or program that Nash Community College is proud of, than this Fire Academy. We partner with several entities to make this happen. I know John's probably going to mention those, John Winstead. John, thank you. As I've been here a little over 25 years at Nash Community College, I haven't been president that long, but I was involved in continuing ed for quite some time. And these ceremonies get better and better. The level of professionalism that we have in the instructional ranks, John, and the partnerships that we have. Chief Arnell, thank you for being here, and Scott Rogers. You can see that we got some celebrities with us tonight to help this graduation be meaningful. But in all seriousness, folks, it is important work. We're proud to do it. These are our local heroes. We celebrate a lot of heroes, but these are our future local heroes that are going to help us keep us safe, hopefully, and keep you out of harm's way. But again, on behalf of the college, welcome to Nash Community College.
Good evening. As our guest speaker tonight, we have Chief Mike Varnell. He began his career with the city of Rocky Mount in the year 1989 as a firefighter. He progressed through the ranks of the department to his current position of Assistant Fire Chief. Chief Varnell is a graduate of the United States Fire Administration, National Fire Academy's Executive Fire Officer, and the NCC Association of Fire Chiefs Executive Development Program. Chief Varnell holds a master's degree in Executive Fire Service Leadership with an emphasis in emergency management. He also carries a bachelor's degree in Business Administration and an associate's degree in Fire Protection Technology. He is credentialed by the Commission of Professional Credentialing and carries the Chief Fire Officer designation. He holds numerous certifications in the fields of administration, emergency management, and the fire service. He is of the National Society of Executive Fire Officers, the International Association of Fire Chiefs, the NC Accreditation Support Consortium, the NC Association of Fire Chiefs, and the NC Association of Firefighters. Chief Varnell is actively involved in the Rocky Mount community as a volunteer with United Way, Keep America Beautiful of Nash and Edgecombe counties and communities and schools. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Assistant Chief Varnell.
Well, good evening. Thank you, Justin, for that gracious introduction. I'd like to thank Director John Winstead and the Nash Community College staff for the invitation to speak tonight. I'd also like to thank the graduates and their families for letting me share in this special time with you. I'm very honored to be a part of your graduation service. I want to start tonight off by telling you a little story about how I wound up here tonight. You see, with my current job, me and Director Winstead communicate on a pretty regular basis through email, phone calls, maybe even a few text messages now and then. Well, last spring I got a very simple text message from Director Winstead that said, "Would you be willing to speak at graduation in May?" Without much thought, I replied, "Sure, I'd be glad to." I didn't really think about it again for a few weeks. When my wife and I were traveling, just having a general conversation, and I told her that Nash Community College had asked me to speak at their graduation. Well, she got a very concerned look on her face pretty quick. She said, "What did you tell them?" "I hope you respectfully declined." I said, "Why would I decline? John wants me to speak at the Fire Academy. That's what I do. That's my experience." She said, "Are you sure it's not the commencement graduation in May?" And with a very long pause, I said, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure." Thinking to myself for the first time, surely if this was the commencement graduation, Dr. Carver himself would have called me or sent me a letter of invitation. Now I was starting to sincerely doubt what I had committed to. Well, about 2 days later, I was in the office when the phone rang, and guess who was on the other end? Dr. Carver. Oh my. Well, you probably know the rest of the story. It was the college graduation I had committed to. And yes, I had to hear it from my wife. She said, "I told you." Obviously, I went through with the commitment, everything went okay. But in Director Winstead's defense, after Dr. Carver's call that day, I did go back and look at my text message, and it did say commencement graduation. But my haste, my brain was thinking Director Winstead, Fire Academy. I didn't really think about the alternative. So I guess the invitation to speak tonight took almost a year to come to fruition, but I'm finally speaking at the graduation I thought I had committed to. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're here celebrating the graduation of 6 young men who have obviously made the decision to dedicate their lives to public safety. Be it a childhood dream or some more recent calling for others, they made the decision and they have done this out of a conviction to serve their fellow man. They deserve our congratulations tonight, but more importantly, they need our support for the remainder of their fire service careers. For these men will see things that most people will never have to face. Make no mistake, they will be exposed to things that quite honestly people shouldn't have to deal with. I tell people all the time, people don't call 911 because they're having a good day. And unless they're calling specifically for a police officer, they're going to get a BRT, a big red truck with professionally trained and dedicated firefighters. During their careers, these men will see the very best and the very worst of humanity. They will be expected to perform and carry out tasks in a professional manner, regardless of the circumstances they encounter, including the attitudes of the people they are serving. Yet, these young, brave men will draw more satisfaction from saving their first human life than any of us could ever understand. They have learned to be a firefighter, you must be fit. You have to be resilient, tough, and have confidence. You have to be diligent, resourceful, and outgoing. Accordingly, these graduates have successfully completed 23 weeks of intense training under instructors who have given them the benefit of their considerable experience. They have passed a rigorous series of tests that have pushed them to the limit in their aptitude and physical abilities. I have no doubt that sometime during this academy, these graduates question their abilities, if not the tactics of their instructors. Yet each one of them have persevered and now deserve a place in the fire rescue service where they will join some of the very best people in this country has to offer. Graduates, you will come to know your fellow firefighters as well as you know anybody else in the world, including your wives, girlfriends, mothers, or fathers. You will have to live with them, and in an emergency, you will be prepared to risk your life for them. You will do this knowing that they too will risk their life for you. Today, family and friends, congratulating you, and that is what it should be like. These are the people who supported you during your whole journey. Through your academic and physical accomplishments, you have proved that you are worthy of shedding the title of cadet and fit to wear the uniform of a firefighter. It is up to you to maintain and build upon this distinction. I remind you that a firefighter is not a title that only applies to on duty. You will be a member of a very proud service and brotherhood, and I expect that you will uphold the traditions that this service and what it is today. The academy you have just completed is the academic and physical base from which you need to build. Today's firefighters must continue their pursuit of education and training in order to meet future challenges. From now on, you will be known as a firefighter, a term in this country that covers a multitude of tasks and commands the respect of most people you will encounter. When I mentor young people in our profession, I try to spend some time with them explaining the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. I try to get them to see themselves where they want to be 10 to 15 years down the road. I often tell them my story and challenges that I faced as a young firefighter. My point is, I was once where you are last spring before you enrolled in this fire academy, and I know it was an incredible challenge for you, but it has prepared you for the profession you have chosen. It will not be easy. You will miss holidays, birthdays, family gatherings, but in return, it will give you a fulfilling career and an overwhelming sense of accomplishment. Director Winstead and his staff here at Nash Community College have invested in you, and you have invested in a career choice. Your choice to attend, become part of, and graduate from Nash Community College's Fire Academy will now become part of your legacy and one of the reasons for your success and survival. I warn you, however, you will not always win, but don't be afraid to lose, because that is where we learn. When we face adversity, we get better. Benjamin Disraeli once said, "There is no education like adversity." The older I become, the more I try to view obstacles as opportunities. Our world is full of obstacles, and I'm sure during your time here at Nash Community College, you have faced your share. I have come to love the phrase, "You can't do that." It motivates me to try even harder, and the majority of the time prove that person that told me that they're wrong. I know you've heard this phrase during this academy and throughout your lifetime, and you will continue to hear it when you enter the workforce. You see, it's easy to sit back and tell someone why they can't accomplish something, but it's so much harder to take on the difficult challenges and make a positive difference. The Green Bay Packers legendary coach Vince Lombardi once said, "We will strive for perfection, but will not attain it. What we will attain in our struggle for perfection is excellence." As a lifelong learner, I do a fair amount of reading, and some time back I come across something that reflects on what's really important in life. It comes from John Maxwell, who was a very active writer and leadership speaker. As I come to a close, I want to share it with you because I believe it will help you immensely in your journey. I hope these 6 simple rules for life will help you with the balance in yours. I've always said and still believe today that we must have balance in our lives. Rule number 1, put your family first. Lots of people give lip service to putting family first, but they don't actually practice giving their spouse or children top priority. What does it mean to put your family first? For me, it involves redefining success. I do not measure my success in terms of career accomplishments, but for me, success is when those closest to me love and respect me the most. Practically speaking, I try to schedule time with loved ones no matter how busy I may be. It's far more important to give time to them than to get ahead by working way too much. Rule number 2, follow the golden rule. As followers, we universally ask 3 questions about our leaders. Do they care for me? Can they help me? And can I trust them? If not already, you will become leaders in our profession. As a leader, regularly pose those questions to yourself. Am I caring? Am I helping? Am I reliable? And as a reminder to treat others the way you would like to be treated. Rule number 3, this is important, take care of yourself. Do something for yourself is not a selfish act. It's a sustaining act. Several years ago, Brian Dyson, CEO of Coca-Cola, spoke of the relationship of work to one's other responsibilities. Imagine life as a game when you're juggling 5 balls in the air. You name them work, family, health, friends, and spirit. You soon understand that the work is the rubber ball. If you drop it, it will bounce back. But the other 4 balls are made of glass. family, health, friends, and spirit. If you drop one of these, it will be permanently scuffed, nicked, or even shattered. They will never be the same. You must understand that and strive for balance in your life. If you're not taking time to rest and replenish, to exercise, and to monitor your spiritual well-being, then eventually you will break down. When that happens, your ability to help others diminishes drastically. Rule number 4, choose a positive attitude. Happiness cannot be won, taught, or given to you by another person. Rather, it results from a conscious choice to be grateful for your blessings and to make the best of life's disappointments. Whatever happens to us, just remember we always have control of one thing, and that's our attitude. Rule number 5, have a personal growth plan. The key to personal growth is having a beginner's mindset. Beginners admit that they don't know everything and proceed accordingly. As a general rule, they're open and humble, noticeably lacking the inflexibility that accompanies experience and achievement. And the last one, rule number 6, give more than you receive. Everyone must ask for help at some point in life's journey, but each person has an inborn need to help others. When I stopped trying to extract value from people around me and instead search for ways to add value, my influence immediately increased. Graduates, I thank you again for allowing me to be a part of this special day. You have accomplished so much and will accomplish so much more. Go forth from this place today and make a difference in this profession we call the fire service. You are special and armed with many gifts and talents. Put those talents to use with hard work and perseverance, and the possibilities will be endless. Thank you.
I'd like to reiterate a few things real quick. I just want to tell you a little bit about our academy so you understand what these gentlemen have gone through. In order to be a part of this fire academy, you have to first complete the EMT academy. The EMT academy is 11 weeks. Then you move into the fire academy. We started with 16. Today we graduate 6. 4 of those individuals graduated as EMTs and are now working for Nash County. That's what their goal was. The rest either quit, failed to meet the standards, or just decided it wasn't for them. These gentlemen put in a lot of hard work. We begin our day at 06:30. 6:30 a.m. we start physical training. We train until around 8 in the morning, between 8 and 8:30. They report here for class at 9. And they're in class from 9 until 6 at night. Every night, 5 days a week, to include a few Saturdays. So they put in a whole lot of work. To reiterate a lot of the things that Chief Arnell just said, one of my goals in doing that, one of our goals in doing that, is to make sure that they understand that emergency services is tough on them as well as their family. One of the stories I like to tell them was from last year when Hurricane Isabel came. I finished working here at the college, and I took off and I ran home, and I went and pulled out generators, ran water, put water in the refrigerator, made sure there were candles out, batteries, everything was ready. And I left there and I ran to my mother's house, checked all of her stuff, made sure everything was good there. I ran back home, nailed everything down, made sure nothing would blow away. And as the wind started blowing, I went in and I sat down, and I looked around at my wife and my children, and I asked them, what was I forgetting, what had I not done? And it took about 30 minutes before I realized that that was the first storm I'd been at home at for 10 years. The first one. So the training that they went through, they sacrificed a lot, and a lot of it was just time. And it was that way on purpose. It was that way to prepare them. It was that way to prepare their family and friends. And I appreciate you supporting them, and I hope you continue to. At this time, I'd like to call forth Mr. Josh Garris, also known as the Giraffe. You might think that that's because, You might think that that's because he's tall, but it's actually because that's the way he marches. He's going to be pinned by his wife, Megan, not Megan. Our next graduate is Mr. Brian, as you were just in Bedingfield. He has many names. We gave him more nicknames than I've ever known any recruit to ever have. Grumpy, Light Bright, and Backpack, just a few of them. If you spend a little bit of time with him, I'm sure he'll be glad to explain them all. He's going to be pinned by his wife, Katie Palikowski, and his daughter, Addison. Our next graduate will be Mr. Samuel Pridgeon, also known as SpaghettiOs. Apparently he's the only person that can live off of SpaghettiOs alone. And believe it or not, we actually had a nutrition class at the beginning. Apparently SpaghettiOs were way up on the high on the list. He's going to be pinned by his father, Mr. Sammy Pridgeon. I have a few things I'm going to revisit to say about several of these recruits, but this next individual in particular. This gentleman, if I had to think of two words to define him, it would be steadfast determination. Throughout this academy, his father battled with cancer, and Mr. Boyd dealt with all of it. He would come here, he would go through training, he would go home, spend time with his father. And I had the pleasure of meeting his father at the EMT Academy graduation. And he told me that he was going to see him finish. And he did. Now, unfortunately, he can't be here tonight. But I can almost guarantee that he is watching over. I'd like to call Mr. Brian Boyd. He's going to be pinned by his mother, Miss Norma Boyd. Our next graduate, Mr. Matthew Smith, affectionately known as E.T. He has the longest middle finger I've ever seen in my life. And it even has knuckles like an alien finger. He's going to be penned by his mother and father, Joe and Karen Smith. Our final graduate, but most definitely not least, is Mr. Christopher Carlos, also known as Chop Chop. And I'm going to go a little bit further to explain what that is. Chop Chop is apparently a delicacy that they like to eat in Palau, where he's from. If you want to know what it's made from, then I'll get you to ask him. He begged me not to tell. He's going to be penned by his sister, Christine. All right, we've talked about nicknames and we've given them their badges. So now let me tell you a few little interesting facts about them. Mr. Garris, who as you can tell is probably 6'4", 6'5", that's on the low side. He stuck out just simply for that fact. Now, along with that, I also know that Mr. Garris has been trying to get into this academy for quite a while. He's been trying to set himself up to be able to do it. So when he came in, I expected a lot out of him, and he delivered. He filled in as the leader for this group for much of the academy. Mr. Garris, I appreciate it. Thank you. Mr. Bedingfield. Mr. Bedingfield came in, and I immediately identified him as having a little bit of an attitude, but I also identified him as having quite a bit of potential. And after 2 weeks of attitude adjustment, he started to show us his potential, and he finished strong. I expect him to go places. I expect him to do really well. Mr. Pridgeon. Mr. Pridgeon is an interesting person, and that's about where I have to leave that. You have to get to know him a little bit. But he actually joined the academy while he was still in the Army. He was still serving our country. And he actually joined, came home, and came straight into the academy. That's a challenge in itself. That says a lot for him and his ability and his determination. Mr. Boyd, I've already spoke about his determination. Now I got to tell you a little funny thing about him. He's the only person we've ever had in the academy to go to sleep during PT on the first day in one of the hardest days of training. Fell asleep sitting right in front of me. He was still breathing hard when he did it. I didn't even know it was possible. Mr. Smith is young. He came in, also saw a lot of potential in him. He came around, he is young, so there's still a lot of things he needs to mature in, but he's done well, and I'm proud of how far he's come. And I expect big things out of Mr. Smith as he moves forward. Mr. Carlos. Mr. Carlos actually comes from the Island Nation of Palau. There's an interesting agreement with Palau in the United States. If you feel inclined to do so, I suggest that you go do a little bit of research. It's actually pretty interesting. But he actually came here and saw me a few months before the academy started and told me he'd seen our video on YouTube. And he came, and honestly, I didn't know if he would follow through or not, but he impressed me right off the bat. And sure enough, he went home, he completed everything while he was here. He went home, got his finances in order, and he came back. Mr. Carlos, I think you did a great job. At this time, I'm going to present some special awards. There's a few special awards we give out in every academy. The first award I'd like to present is the Academic Award. It's in recognition of the hard work and determination required to attain an academic average of 89.8. I'd like to present this award to Mr. Josh Garris. Our next award is called the Flame Award. The Flame Award is given in recognition of an individual's teamwork, enthusiasm, motivation, and fellowship. Generally the most outstanding recruit. As another note, the Flame Award is actually voted on by their classmates. And I really just wanted to see him walk all the way down there. I'd like to present this to Mr. Josh Garris. Our next award is a new one, maybe the only time we ever do this, I'm not sure. But we spend quite a bit of time trying to get them to spend time making their boots shine, polishing their boots. Attention to detail. The goal behind that, and I've explained this to them many times, is if they come in here and their only job is to sit in here and shine boots and make their uniforms look nice and have that professional appearance, that when they have the worst day they could possibly have, they'll still be okay. Well, it actually turned into a little bit of a competition. And I have to say that this group had the most outstanding boots I've ever seen. They did an excellent job. It became so much of a competition that I thought we'd throw an extra award out there, so we actually came up with the Boot Award. Mr. Garris, come on back up. I'm just kidding, Mr. Garris, it's not you this time. I was waiting to see if Mr. Bedingfield elbowed you. Mr. Bedingfield, congratulations, you get the Excellent Boot Award. Please come on up. It's not much of an award, but he just wanted recognition because he feels like he beat everyone bad with his boots. Good job, Mr. Bedingfield. At this time, I'd like to call the entire graduating class of Class 092412 to come up and present an Instructional Excellence Award. This award goes to the instructor that they felt like was the most instrumental, the instructor that was there for most of the time, and this is also an award that they voted on.
Good evening. I would like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. It means a lot to all of us. When we voted as a class for the Instructor of the Year award, it was clear as to who we wanted to give this award to. Out of all the instructors that we've had during the academy, we've learned the most from this person. Not just stuff about being a firefighter, but stuff that can help us through life. We could go to this person about anything that we needed to. On behalf of Class 092412, we would like to apologize to Director John Winstead for going behind his back to accomplish this. I will now present the Instructor of the Year Award to Director John Winstead.
They did pull the wool over my eyes a little bit. I truly appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. That does mean a lot. Not the award necessarily, but just the fact that you considered me. Leaving the fire service and coming here was not an easy thing to do. I truly enjoy what I do, but I do miss the fire service. But it's things like that and the fact that I know I have a positive impact on their lives that keeps me coming back every day and keeps me loving my job. Thank you. Now, the Instructional Excellence Award that they voted on, the one that I thought that they were coming up to give out. For providing instruction, guidance, and a positive influence, as well as being a mentor and motivator when necessary. Nash Community College Recruit Firefighter Training Academy 092412 recognizes Captain Jonathan Malinowski. At this time, Mr. Chris Carlos will introduce our guest speaker.
I would like to introduce our next guest speaker. He is married to Amy Cooper Rogers, and they have 2 children, Jessica and Jonathan. He began his career at Stony Creek Fire and Fire Rescue Services. While there, he worked his way up to Assistant Chief. In 1991, he joined Nash County Emergency Service as a Fire Prevention Specialist and now serves as the Assistant Director of the Fire and Rescue Service Division. He has an associate degree in Fire Protection Technology, a bachelor's in Occupational Safety and Health, and a master in Public Administration. He is certified as a Level 2 firefighter, a Level 3 instructor, and holds an Advanced Firefighter certificate. He is also designated as Chief Fire Officer and Fire Marshal. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mr. Scott Rogers.
Sure you don't want Gareth to come back up and speak? Congratulations, graduates. Your badges have made you smile. Make sure it continues to. Thank you for allowing me to come and celebrate with you today. It is certainly an honor to be here, and you should be very proud of your accomplishments. In 1908, Chief Edward Crocker of the New York City Fire Department was quoted as saying, "Firefighting is a hazardous occupation. It is dangerous on the face of it. Tackling a burning building, the risk or pain, plain. Consequently, when a man becomes a firefighter, his act of bravery has already been accomplished." Gentlemen, you have accomplished a great deal. You have trained, studied, and persevered to become a firefighter. An accomplishment that should not be taken lightly. In fact, you have entered the greatest and most hazardous occupation in this country. Volunteer, career, male, female, it will not matter. You will all be referred to as brothers, and you will be expected to act and carry yourself as your brother's keeper. It has been said that every right implies a responsibility, every opportunity an obligation, and every possession a duty. You now have the responsibility and the privilege to do your part to ensure that the profession of firefighter continues to be held in high regard. From this day forward, you will be known 24 hours a day, 7 days a week as a firefighter, and your actions until the end of your days will affect the reputation of firefighters everywhere, and I ask that you not take that lightly. You now have the responsibility to serve and protect the communities you represent. This responsibility will include much more than fighting fires and treating patients. It will include lending a hand to those in need, including your brothers, when they have no one else to turn to. You will be called upon to uphold your responsibilities on good days and on bad days. But remember, you have the ability to make days better for many others if you choose. You have a responsibility to continue to learn and develop professionally, to ensure the safety of yourselves, your fellow firefighters, and the citizens you serve. I'm not talking only about how to operate safety, ventilate a structure, attack a fire, or wear your gear. You have already been taught these basic principles. I'm talking about developing yourself with professionalism, dedication, pride, and passion. These are all traits I implore you to adopt and practice religiously. These traits will allow you to always treat people the way in which you would like to be treated, conduct yourself in a calm, intelligent manner, display a composed demeanor during emergency situations, and always perform to your highest level of competence. You have the responsibility to set goals for yourself, to seek out leaders and mentors that will lead you in the right direction. I've had the opportunity to work with some of the brightest, most talented people in the world, and so will you because of the field you have chosen. You must decide the ones that do it right and the ones you should follow behind, for soon others will be following you. For you see, the fire service is not an individual sport. It is simply a group of individuals working as a team for a common goal, and that goal is the safety of ourselves and our customers. It is a group of men and women that have chosen to put the needs of others before their own and help those in need. It is a brotherhood. In fact, I believe that doing good for your fellow man is an opportunity that was ordained by God, and your choices and accomplishments have made you a part of that calling. You are now firefighters. So again, I say to you, congratulations. Bask in the light of your accomplishments, but don't take the responsibility lightly. Look to this group of family and friends behind you for support. Prioritize your faith, your family, and go forth in the fire service and do good things. In the years to come, may you look back on tonight and know that because of your contributions, the fire service is a little better than you found it. My prayer for each of you is safety and satisfaction. May you always be thankful for the privilege to be a firefighter, and may each of you enjoy the fire service just as much as I do. So make every day a training day and be safe. Congratulations.
Class 092412, fall in. After dismissal of the class, I'd like y'all to join us for refreshments. We have a slideshow in the background we'd like you to see. Report.
Class 092412, all present, all accounted for.
Class 092412, you're secured for training. Fall out.